What's up, everybody? This video you're watching is The Year in Wrestling 1998 Part 2. I'll be talking about ECW Living Dangerously 98 pay-per-view from Asbury Park, New Jersey, their fourth ever pay-per-view. WWF WrestleMania 14, WCW Uncensored 98, and WCW Spring Stampede, and I may talk about WWF Unforgiven in Your House that happened in April 98. I'm going to start it off talking about the first pay-per-view of March from ECW. Living Dangerously took place on March 1st, 98. As I said, it was the fourth ever pay-per-view for ECW. First match, I think it was on a pre-show, but they did show some of it on the pay-per-view. They claimed it was too violent, and the pay-per-view company did not want ECW and Paul Heyman to show Sabu versus the Sandman. But ECW showed it anyway, and I'm sure they got a lot of heat for it. But that's what ECW was known for. Giving the fans what they want. They wanted to see Sabu versus Sandman. I believe it's a dueling canes match or some type of gimmick match where it was basically no rules, because in ECW there were no rules. There were no DQs, no countouts, and no matches that were ever stopped. There was always a winner. So, Living Dangerously took place from Asbury Park, New Jersey. Joey Styles kicked the pay-per-view off in the middle of the ring, saying, "Welcome to ECW Living Dangerously 98. And the crowd was on fire. The crowd was really happy and excited to be there. Just like they were excited and happy to be at every ECW pay-per-view, the crowds were usually very, very into the pay-per-view show. Unlike some WCW pay-per-views in 2000, when you couldn't even sell out the arenas, and they couldn't even draw 5,000 people in the dying days of WCW. But ECW, all their pay-per-views, they always drew great crowds and probably sellouts. A lot of their pay-per-views were probably sellouts because the fans just craved and loved the ECW. They couldn't get enough of it. And even when ECW died in 2001, they still had a huge audience of fans coming to their shows. So I understand they were losing money because of Paul Heyman's mismanagement of the company, but they were still making a lot of money from sold out arenas for their shows. So I don't even understand how they went out of business. Anyways, they shouldn't have. They were still making a lot of money. First match, as I said, Sabu defeated the Sandman, and Rob Van Dam interfered. Up first on the pay-per-view was Jerry Lynn and Chris Chetti and the team defeating the FBI, the team of Little Guido and Tracy Smothers. Up next was Masato. Excuse me. Couldn't breathe there for a minute. Got some dust in my nose or something. Masato Tanaka defeated Doug Furnas. Doug Furnas was, I think, still under contract to WWF, but they were not using him, so they sent him to ECW. Masato Tanaka wins over Doug Furnas, and Masato Tanaka came in. This was his first ECW pay-per-view. He would work on future shows. He was from FMW, the promotion in Japan that basically started hardcore wrestling in Japan. Up next, Rob Van Dam defeated Too Cold Scorpio. And Too Cold Scorpio was under contract still to the WWF as Flash Funk. And in 98, the WWF finally started calling him Too Cold Scorpio, and they dropped the god-awful, pretty lame Flash Funk gimmick, because that's what it was. It was fucking lame. Should have just brought him in WWF as Too Cold Scorpio. So you had a couple of WWF guys under contract that ECW would use, and basically Vince told Paul Heyman, I'll give you these talents and please get them over, try to get them over, and then Vince would take them back from ECW. Just like Al Snow. Al Snow was on Living Dangerously 98. Paul Heyman worked his magic and got Al Snow over with the head gimmick. And Al Snow got himself over also. Credit to him for coming up with that head gimmick. I'm sure Mick Foley in a car ride with Al Snow. Mick Foley was basically playing with a mannequin head, joking that it was his girlfriend, and I don't know what he was doing, kissing it or something, just as a joke in a long car ride, because you're on the road so damn much as a pro wrestler. So Al Snow saw Mick Foley joking around with the head, talking to it, so he decided to take that and start talking to a mannequin head and make that his gimmick, and it got over like a son of a bitch in ECW. They had foam mannequin heads. They passed them out to the ECW audience for free. They gave them mannequin heads, and it looked great on TV and pay-per-view when everybody was shaking their head and chanting head, head, head. And then Al Snow's entrance, the music he had was the Prodigy, some Prodigy song from 98 or 97, whenever it came out. And just with the music that ECW used and the strobe lights that ECW used during Al Snow's entrance at Living Dangerously 98, that also got him over. And that was a great entrance. Up next, three-way dance. It was basically a death match because a lot of weapons were involved. New Jack and Spike Dudley defeated the team of the Dudley Boys and Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. At the end, Spike Dudley and New Jack go up to the balcony above the arena. In the arena, there's a balcony. In the crowd, they go up a whole bunch of stairs to the balcony. New Jack is ready to jump off of it, put Devon and Bubba Ray are on tables. Or maybe Big Dick Dudley was on one of the tables. So New Jack goes up there and is ready to dive off the balcony, through the table, through the Dudleys. Spike Dudley is scared. He doesn't want to dive off a balcony. And I don't blame him. So New Jack goes up to him, punches him in the head, and basically yells at him and says, "You're doing it." So then Spike Dudley and New Jack at the same time, they dive off the balcony, through two tables, through the Dudley Boys. The ECW fans go wild. They chant ECW, ECW, ECW. They loved it. They ate it up. And it was pretty awesome to see that spot. Very dangerous spot every time New Jack would dive off a balcony. It wasn't safe, but he would do it because the ECW would pay him extra, so he would do it. Or Paul Heyman would pay him extra, so he would do it. Damn sure New Jack wasn't diving off of balconies for free, because I don't think he's that stupid. Anyways, he did dive off one balcony at Hardcore Heaven 2000 pay-per-view in my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was there. He dived off a balcony, put somebody through a table, and he broke his leg. So diving off of balconies, it's never safe. Don't do it. If you're into backyard wrestling, don't dive off your roof or dive off any balconies. It's stupid. Especially if you're not getting paid big money to dive off a balcony, don't fucking do it. Or don't jump off your roof if you're not getting paid a lot of money. I don't even think I would jump off my roof 15 feet up. One of my roofs is 15 feet I don't think I would jump off my roof and put someone through a table. I don't even think I would do that for $10,000. Maybe I would. I don't know. But I don't think I would, because I would get injured. Up next, Tommy Dreamer had a feud going with Justin Credible. A heated feud. This was a grudge match. Tommy Dreamer defeats Justin Credible. Nicole Bass is there by the side of Justin Credible. Jason, the sexiest man on earth, is by the side of Justin Credible. And Tommy Dreamer, I believe Mikey Whipwreck, he had a broken leg. Mikey Whipwreck came down, got involved, gave Justin Credible the Mikey, what the hell they call it, the stunner, but I forgot what they called it when Mikey Whipwreck did it. The whipper snap. I think it was called the whipper snapper. So Mikey Whipwreck hits a stunner on Nicole Bass, whipper snapper, whatever you want to call it. Beulah McGillicuddy is involved. She had a neck brace on. She came down to the ramp. Justin Credible thought Beulah was going to join him, and she did not. She gave him a low blow and a nut shot. Before the match, Jenna Jameson, famous porn star Jenna Jameson, is at ECW Living Dangerously again. She was at Hardcore Heaven 97. This is Living Dangerously 98, ECW's first pay-per-view event of 98. Jenna Jameson is guest ring announcer for Tommy Dreamer versus Justin Credible. Jenna Jameson announces Tommy Dreamer, and then Tommy Dreamer makes out with Jenna Jameson and sticks his tongue down her throat. I thought that was funny. And the most funny thing is the line Joey Styles said after Tommy Dreamer kissed Jenna Jameson. Joey Styles says, "Tommy Dreamer going where every man has gone before." I thought that was funny. Up next, Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Taz to win the TV title. And this match was the famous spot where Bam Bam falls back in the ring and Taz and Bam Bam go through the fucking ring. That was a great spot. Big surprise when everybody saw that happen in the crowd. They all jumped up on their feet. It was shocking. Never seen that happen before in wrestling. Two guys going through a ring to the floor. It was an awesome spot, and it was awesome to see. On pay-per-view, it was a great spot. Bam Bam wins the TV title, and I think Taz would win it back at the end of night, or no, I don't remember. Taz would not win it back, I don't think, because Bam Bam would hold on to it until, or no, Bam Bam would not hold on to it. Bam Bam would lose the ECW TV title a month later after Living Dangerously. Bam Bam at a ECW TV taping for their syndicated show that was shown on basically satellite TV. I did not get it on cable or regular TV in Milwaukee. We did not get ECW until 1999 on television, right before it got on TNN, or right after TNN, ECW got on regular television here, and it was on around 3 or 4 in the morning every Saturday night. I did not stay up every night, every weekend to watch it, but I did tape a lot of ECW TVs in 99 and 2000 because it was on at like 3 or 4 in the morning every weekend. I wasn't going to stay up every single weekend to watch it, but some weekends I did. But I was happy to have ECW on TNN. I was happy to get that to watch it on Friday nights, and I did watch it. I think I watched every single episode until TNN got rid of ECW for WWF or Raw. Okay, main event of Living Dangerously was Lance Storm, and his mystery partner was Tammy Lynn Sitch, Sunny at the time. She was still under contract to WWF, but not for long, because after June or July 98, Sunny was gone from the WWF. I guess they didn't want to renew her contract. Maybe she started drug abuse or her prescription drug problem. I don't know why WWF let Sunny go in 98, because she was still pretty damn hot. And then ECW started using Sunny after the WWF let her go. Sunny was with her longtime boyfriend Chris Candido, and she would show up at ECW Heatwave 98, and Sunny was on November to Remember 98, so she started working for ECW. Anyways, and you could say Paul Heyman maybe shouldn't have used Sunny if she was on drugs. Was Paul Heyman using her? I don't believe he was, because a lot of his talents did drugs, probably marijuana, cocaine, whatever. ECW backstage, a lot of the guys were living the party lifestyle, the rock star lifestyle of sex, drugs, and whatever, rock and roll. A lot of guys were doing it. Sandman has admitted to snorting cocaine, and the guy was a drunk for a while. He was an alcoholic. A lot of other guys, I'm sure, did drugs. New Jack, Boz Mahoney, Raven. His first ECW run, I'm sure Raven was doing some drugs. But then he got clean and went to WCW. And then back to ECW, then to the WWF again. And then left the WWF, and then Raven went to TNA. Anyways, Al Snow and Lance Storm. Sunny was not the mystery partner of Lance Storm. She acted like she was going to be when she cut a little promo on the microphone, but Al Snow came out to save Lance Storm from the triple threat of Chris Candido and his partner, the World Heavyweight Champion, Shane Douglas. So Al Snow comes out with the head and then takes out the triple threat, hits his finisher, the Snow Plow, on Shane Douglas. 1, 2, 3, Al Snow wins. The crowd throws all the styrofoam heads in the ring. It was a great visual to see that on pay-per-view, all those heads being thrown in the ring. It was pretty awesome. And then Al Snow and Lance Storm leave the ring. Francine is still in there with Shane Douglas laying on his back, and Chris Candido and Sunny, and the crowd is still throwing the heads in the ring. A couple of the heads hit Francine in the head, and they're throwing them at Candido and Francine and Shane Douglas because they're still in the ring. Before the main event started, and Shane Douglas came out, and Francine came out, and Francine came down the ramp. If you look really closely, when Francine walks down the ramp and the camera's on her, a styrofoam head goes like this. Comes and hits her in the side of her head. I thought that was pretty funny. Somebody threw the head at her, and it hit her right in the head, coming down to the ring. So that was ECW Living Dangerously 98. I liked the Dudley's tag team 3-way match. That was entertaining. A lot of weapons, and it was entertaining. You had the New Jack and Spike Dudley dive off the balcony. That was entertaining. RVD, Too Cold Scorpio, that was pretty decent. I enjoyed Al Snow and his entrance. The main event was not much of a main event or a match. It ended pretty damn fast. But Al Snow and his entrance and seeing all the heads, that was awesome. And Bam Bam and Taz, them going through the ring, that was awesome. So I really enjoyed Living Dangerously 98 from ECW. Now I'm going to talk about WWF WrestleMania. I'll talk about Uncensored first, because Uncensored in March of 98 took place before WrestleMania, so I'll talk about WCW Uncensored now. Television champion Booker T defended his title and beat Eddie Guerrero. I haven't watched that match or Uncensored 98 in a long time, but I'm sure the match was good between Booker and Eddie, because they were both great workers. They were both fantastic, awesome workers. Up next, Juventud Guerrero defeated Conan. Cruiserweight Champion Chris Jericho defeated Dean Malenko. Lex Luger defeated Scott Steiner. And nobody cared about that match. At least I didn't. U.S. Champion. This was a very good U.S. title triple threat match. Diamond Dallas Page, defending the U.S. title, defeated Raven and Chris Benoit. It was called a Triple Jeopardy match. That's a stupid name. They should just call it Triangle Match or Triple Threat. Or like ECW did, just call it a three-way dance. So DDP retains the U.S. title. Bret Hart defeated Kurt Hennig. It was a decent match. But it was odd to see Bret and Kurt Hennig going at it on a WCW pay-per-view because for years and years, all the fans saw them in the WWF. Up next, World Heavyweight Champion Sting defeated and retained his world title. He defeated Scott Hall of the NWO. Wearing my NWO shirt today. Just thought I'd wear it for this 98 video, part 2 of 98, because NWO was still pretty over and still pretty big in 98. So there it is, my NWO shirt. Representing, I was a big fan of them for life. Up next, Hollywood Hogan. After the world title match, you put on a pretty bad, really bad match between Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Randy Savage was a way better worker than Hulk Hogan, but whatever. They were both pretty old, late 40s, I think, at the time, in a steel cage. I don't think anybody cared about this match, and it should have not went on last. It should have not been the last match of Uncensored. It left a bad taste in everybody's mouth because it was a bad match and it was not good. And this was getting to the time in March 98 where WCW was really starting to screw up and do stupid shit and putting old guys in main events that nobody really wanted to see anymore. I mean, Hogan was main eventing for a lot of the time in 98 until he lost the world title to Goldberg. And that was the right decision, and I'm glad. And you can say a lot of crap about Hulk Hogan, but to put Goldberg over was the right thing to do, and he did it. So you can't bash Hogan for that. He put Goldberg over and gave him the world title. And then Kevin Nash ruined that by defeating Goldberg for the world title at Starrcade. That was a mess, and that was shit. And I'll talk about that in my future video. Probably the last video of 98, I'll talk about Starrcade and the mess that Goldberg getting defeated was. So Hollywood Hogan defeats Randy Macho Man Savage in a no contest in a steel cage. Nobody cared, and it was awful. Now I'm going to talk about WWF WrestleMania 14 pay-per-view. Mike Tyson was a special enforcer for the main event for the WWF Championship. In WWF, as I said, getting Mike Tyson was big. It was a big deal for them because Mike Tyson got the WWF at the time a lot of media coverage. A lot of mainstream media coverage, sports coverage. They were talked about on ESPN Sports Center. They were talked about on CNN. They were talked about probably on every cable news channel. The WWF was talked about, and people in the mainstream media were promoting WrestleMania 14 as Mike Tyson's return to the ring, and that he was going to be on the pay-per-view. And WrestleMania 14 did a very good buy rate, very strong buy rate of like over 1 million people ordered WrestleMania 14 on pay-per-view. So Mike Tyson definitely helped. And before WrestleMania 14, you had a great build-up with the storyline of DX and Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold. And Shawn Michaels super kicked Stone Cold on the stage of Raw a couple times once, and then got tied up Stone Cold in the ropes on Raw, stuck the title in his face, and grabbed Stone Cold by the face, and Shawn Michaels was holding the title up, yelling at him, "You'll never have this. You'll never have this, Austin." And then he's pushing it in, the title belt, he's pushing it in Stone Cold's face. So it was great build-up. People wanted to see, and people were excited to see Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold for the title at WrestleMania 14. It was great build-up for that feud, DX versus Stone Cold. And earlier on a March 98 episode of Raw, Mike Tyson would join DX when he was about to fight Shawn Michaels. And then Triple H and Shawn Michaels ripped his WWF Attitude shirt. I'm sure it was ripped on top. They ripped it off, and he had a D-Generation X shirt under it. And then he started going like this, and then he was doing a DX chop, and Mike Tyson joined DX. It was a shocking moment. It was a great moment in the Monday Night Wars. And it was a great moment, great idea for WWF to do that. And turn Mike Tyson heel and put him in DX for a little bit. And obviously everybody knows Mike Tyson turned on Shawn Michaels at the end of WrestleMania 14. First match of WrestleMania 14 was a tag team battle royal. The winning team would get a future tag team title shot at the next pay-per-view. LOD 2000, they had a new look, they had new ring gear, they had masks on over their face, and they had new ring gear, new shoulder pads, new face paint style, and they had a new manager. Sonny was LOD 2000's manager. I thought Sonny never fit well with the Road Warriors, but whatever. They put Sonny with the Legion of Doom in LOD 2000, I'm sure, because they had nothing else for her to do. And they didn't know what else to do with Sonny. So they thought, hell, let's put her with LOD 2000. That'll be a great idea. I disagree. It was not a great idea. It was pretty stupid. But it was still good to see Sonny. She was hot as hell at the time at WrestleMania 14. So, LOD 2000 wins the Tag Team Battle Royal after eliminating the new Midnight Express, which were Bob Holly and Bart Gunn. And they had some god-awful names. One of their, I think it was Bodacious Bob and Bombastic Bart. They were the new Midnight Express, managed by Jim Cornette. It was stupid to bring back a old gimmick tag team and give them the name the Midnight Express, and of two guys that did not deserve to be called the Midnight Express or the new Midnight Express, because they were not Stan Lane or Bobby Eaton. They just were not as good as the original Midnight Express. And my favorite Midnight Express team is Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. Dennis Condrey, I didn't enjoy him with Bobby Eaton. I just did not. So, up next, after LOD 2000 wins the Tag Team Battle Royal, Taka Michinoku defends his light heavyweight championship. Taka Michinoku defeats Aguila, whatever his name was. Whatever it was, Aguila. Taka retains the light heavyweight championship. And Aguila, under the mask, he was, the hell was his name? Came back in 2000 with Lita. And Lita made her debut with him. I can't remember the guy's name. I know he had red hair. Poppy, I think his name was Poppy Chulo. Anyways, he was Poppy Chulo later on, after they took the mask off of him. He was a pretty good cruiserweight. He was a pretty good high-flying wrestler. Up next, after Taka Michinoku won and retained, we had Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeat Owen Hart to retain the European Championship. There was interference in this. The commissioner, Sergeant Slaughter, was handcuffed to China, and China still interfered in the damn match, threw powder in Sergeant Slaughter's eyes, blinded him, and she still interfered, and they screwed Owen Hart. So China still interfered after being handcuffed. That was fucking pointless to handcuff China. If you didn't want her interfering, you handcuff her, and then she still fucking interferes some way. Stupidness. Idiotic. That was probably a Vince Russo idea. Let's have China interfere when she's still handcuffed. Dumb. Just really dumb. I would like to see Owen Hart defeat Triple H at WrestleMania 14, but it didn't happen. Mark Mero and Sable in a first ever mixed tag match at a WrestleMania. Mark Mero and Sable defeated Goldust and Luna Vachon. And Sable looked pretty impressive in this match. She did a couple moves and she didn't look that awful. Intercontinental Championship on the line next. Rocky Maivia, The Rock, defeated Ken Shamrock when the referee reversed his decision, I believe, because Ken Shamrock would not let go of the ankle lock submission. So the ref reversed his decision, gave the win to The Rock, and gave the Intercontinental title back to The Rock. Again, another dumb, odd finish. But Ken Shamrock would get an Intercontinental title run in October '98 when he won an Intercontinental Championship tournament on Raw in October. Up next was Terry Funk and Cactus Jack defeating the World Tag Team Champions, the New Age Outlaws, in the first ever dumpster match. It was pretty damn entertaining. I was happy to see Cactus and Terry Funk win the World Tag Team titles, but I don't think they'd hold on to them for long. I think the next night on Raw, they lost the tag titles in a cage match back to the New Age Outlaws after Triple H and X-Pac returned to the WWF after WrestleMania 14 on a Monday Night Raw. X-Pac, Triple H interfered in the cage match. So Terry Funk and Cactus lose the titles right back to the New Age Outlaws 24 hours later, the next fucking night on Raw. That sucked, but whatever, it happened. There was a lot of 24-hour title changes in 98 and 99. It was pretty ridiculous, but that's what happened in the Attitude Era. There were too many title changes. Up next was... where was I? The Undertaker. First ever one-on-one match. The Undertaker versus Kane. And The Undertaker defeats his brother Kane. It was a damn good match. They put on a great match. I believe Kane tombstoned Undertaker Undertaker had to tombstone Kane 3 times to get the victory over him. Kane gave Taker a hell of a fight. And it was a really great, really good, entertaining matchup. Before the match, you had Pete Rose as a special guest for the WWF at WrestleMania. Former legendary Hit King Pete Rose still holds a record for the most hits in baseball history. They should put Pete Rose in a goddamn Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't care that he betted on baseball. They should put him in clearly on just being one of the all-time great baseball players of all time. They should put him in just by his record as a baseball player. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame already. It's been like 25 years, over 25 years, since he bet on baseball. Since they banned Pete Rose for life from baseball, you don't got to bring him back into baseball and put him back in the game and hire him as a coach or a hitting coach. Baseball doesn't have to hire Pete Rose back to put him on a team in baseball. All they got to do is just put Pete Rose in a goddamn Baseball Hall of Fame. The guy deserves it. And I want to see Pete Rose get in the Hall of Fame before the guy dies, because he's like 75 years old or 76 years old. He's an old guy. Just put him in the goddamn Baseball Hall of Fame. Pete Rose deserves it. And I don't give a F that I don't give a fuck. I'll just say the fuck. I don't give a fuck that he been on baseball. That was like 30 years ago. I don't care. Just put him in for his accomplishments that the accomplishments he made in baseball. Whatever. Pete Rose was a special guest, comes out, gets on the microphone at WrestleMania 14, and the guy was super entertaining. The guy was like a natural heel, or a natural heel manager. Pete Rose was that good that you could believe that this guy could be a heel manager in the business. Gets on the mic, rips Boston, and says, 1986 Bill Butner, whatever his name is, Bill Butner, lets the ball go through his legs, and the Mets win the World Series against the Red Sox. And the curse of the Bambino, the curse on the Red Sox continues, people thought, until they won the World Series, I think, in 2004 or 5. Anyways, or maybe it was they didn't win the World Series in 2003. I think 2004 the Red Sox won the first World Series. Anyways, their first World Series. Pete Rose rips Boston and rips the Red Sox nation and their fans and says, Bill Butner, I left tickets for him. I left tickets for him at the front desk, but he couldn't pick them up. And then he's cracking jokes, and Pete Rose was saying, how about it? And then he kept ripping Boston and cracking jokes. It was damn funny and damn good, entertaining stuff on the microphone from Pete Rose. I didn't expect that from Pete Rose, but he was damn funny. He's probably a funny guy in real life, because he made me laugh at WrestleMania 14 when I watched it. Anyways, and I still laugh if I watch that clip of Pete Rose ripping Boston at WrestleMania 14. It still makes me laugh to this day. And it was like 17 years ago. Anyways, Pete Rose does that, and he's great on the mic. And then Kane comes out, stares at Pete Rose, goes like this, turns his head sideways, picks Pete Rose up, and tombstone power drives Pete Rose in the middle of the ring. That got a great pop from Boston, obviously, because they wanted to see Pete Rose get beat up or chokeslammed or tombstoned, and he did. And as I said, Undertaker wins their first one-on-one match. They would have another pretty epic match at the next pay-per-view, the first ever Inferno match between Undertaker and Kane again. Now, to the main event. Shawn Michaels defending the WWE Championship. Nobody really knew at the time this was his last match in a WWE ring for over 4 years. This was his last match in a WWE ring, as he would have to go on a 4-year absence because of his back injury. And so he was retired from, as I said, 98. He was retired from 98, March 98 until August 2002. So whatever, that's over 4 years, I think. Over 4 years and a couple months. Shawn Michaels defending the WWF Championship. Iron Mike Tyson comes out as a special guest, special enforcer on the outside of the ring. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out. The glass breaks. His theme hits. Boston goes crazy. They were super over. They were super with Stone Cold Steve Austin in this matchup and main event of WrestleMania 14. Stone Cold hits this, and Shawn and Stone Cold put on a very good match. I don't think Shawn Michaels, he would probably admit it was not his best match he put on, and he probably did not like it, how it went. But for having a really bad back injury, and he shouldn't even been in the ring, but he had to do it because it was a WrestleMania main event. And he was booked to be on the card. He didn't want to let down the WWF. He He didn't want to let down Vince. He didn't want to let down the fans. So Shawn Michaels worked through a back injury. Gotta respect him for that. Stone Cold hits a stunner. 1, 2, 3. Stone Cold wins the WWF Championship for the first time. And then the Stone, I believe Jim Ross said it on commentary, the Stone Cold era has officially begun, or something like that. And then Mike Tyson, Stone Cold, gets a huge reaction. Obviously, everybody knew he was going to get a huge reaction if he won the match. He gets a huge reaction and actually leaves with Mike Tyson holding Stone Cold's arm up in the air. Great end to WrestleMania 14. I thought WrestleMania 14 was much better than 13. Anyways, Shawn Michaels is pissed. Before Mike Tyson leaves with Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels is pissed that he turned, that, I don't know, he didn't help him retain. So Shawn Michaels is poking Mike Tyson, going like this, poking him in the chest, basically challenging Shawn Michaels to knock him out. Shawn Michaels challenging Mike Tyson to do something and knock him out. Mike Tyson does. Shawn Michaels tries to sucker punch him. Mike Tyson blocks it, knocks his ass out. HBK knocked out cold by Iron Mike Tyson. And funny call on it. Jim Ross, obviously you remember the call. I'll do it again if you don't remember it. Mike Tyson knocked him out. Jim Ross goes, "Down goes Michaels." Funny as hell. Or I think he just said it once. He didn't repeat it over and over. He just said, "Down goes Michaels." Anyways, that was WrestleMania 14. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a good WrestleMania. Pretty damn good WrestleMania. WWF put on in 98. WrestleMania 14 was a good one. I was going to talk about the next pay-per-view, WWF In Your House Unforgiven 98. But I'll do that in my next video because this one is pretty damn long already. It's over 42 minutes. I apologize. I hope you enjoyed The Year in Wrestling 1998 Part 2 video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you watched, thank you very much for watching any of my videos, and thank you very much out there for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you're on Twitter, I'll be on Twitter tonight for WWE NXT and for TNA. I'll be live tweeting it. So join me on Twitter if you have a Twitter account. I'm at TNA WWE Guy and I'm at NXT WWE Guy. So follow me there. I live tweet basically most live wrestling shows. I try to live tweet them for my followers. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.